Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
We are here, and once again, it is our great pleasure to be in your reality. It is our doubly great pleasure to be back here in Sedona, a place where the energies are very strong, they are very seductive, they are very transformative. When you come to Sedona, you come for a dose of changing your life. You come to sit in the frying pan of energy, to walk the lines of time, to feel the vortexes, and to remember. You may ask, what is it that is important for us to remember? It's quite simple. The entirety of who you are. You must remember why you come to Earth, and the purpose of your life, and the collective purpose of being together to create various movements of consciousness. So, you have figured out by now we are the Pleiadians as we speak through this, our vehicle. Many of you know that we have talked about the reason we have come to Earth. And one of those reasons involves a tyranny that grew out of the nanosecond in another line of time. And we told this story back in 1988 and 99, 89, and those early years. And we said we've come from the future, and we've come back in time because from this 25 years of accelerated energy, a tyranny grew, and it eventually reached us in the Pleiades. And the tyranny was based on humans abdicating their humanity and becoming basically cyborgs. A branch, a faction. And we are related to you as the Anunnakis are related to you. The Anunnakis were those who came to rearrange your DNA. The Anunnakis are not all, let's say, on the same team. They are of the same bloodline. They come from what you would call a cosmic royal family. But are they any more royal than Obama would claim to be American royalty, or the Brits or the Queen would claim to be British royalty? They're all roles the beings play. And these beings, the Anunnakis, claim to be these great gods. But let's say they're part of other empires. And we, as Pleiadians and other visitors from other star systems, have interceded throughout time into the living library. And we are in the sign of Taurus, 28 degrees thereabouts. The sun will be on the Pleiades around May 18. Look up at our direction at that time. Right now, at night, you can see the Pleiades in the heavens. And always look and say hello, and the energy will come back to you. So we have also come onto your planet, and there are many, many cultures around the globe that consider us to be your ancestors. That is why we are welcomed. That is why we are revered. We are considered the sweet daughters of Atlas. We are considered to be the hens, the chicks. We are the original chicks, if they are chicks. We are, let's say, the Seven Sisters. We have many names throughout time, and even we can claim to be mentioned as seven doves, and we are in the Bible as well. We are known to be mystical and to produce, let's say, an energy that is very earthy. We have taught you many, many things. And we have interspersed in and out of, let's say, and around the infiltration of the Anunnaki. We as Pleiadians, this group, we, that speak to you, we do not represent the entire Pleiadian system. Know that. That there are many types of beings that come through the Pleiades. We are an area in the cosmos through which many souls pass and many realities are organized and set up, dreamed into being. We have a black hole which allows us to, let's say, really move merchandise through time. it is like a magical portal if you have a black hole. To understand black holes, the center of the galaxy is reputed to have massive, massive black hole that, let's say, is many, many millions of times the size of your sun. Black holes are entry points in and out of various versions of reality. So, as Pleiadians, we have come back in time to help you build the nano, to build a probability, to ameliorate the tyranny. We have succeeded. Many people want to know, did you succeed? Yes, we have succeeded in building this probability, and the tyranny is still there. But you are in a parallel world next to the tyranny world. And even though you will see some aspects of the tyranny, the desire to turn humans into cyborgs, you are in the prob, the splitting of the worlds, the version of reality that is invested in the flowering of consciousness. We cannot emphasize this enough. All the people that are in this probability with you are here in some way to learn about or learn from the flowering of consciousness. And so it is important to understand that worlds split, and they split by agreements and by beliefs. And what you believe or what you are invested in can build a world, and it can build millions of worlds. And you can be in many worlds at once. You are not perhaps just in this world. These are the concepts of what are called probabilities. This is demonstratable in the science that is 100 years old now, called quantum mechanics, quantum physics. The idea of thought influencing, let's say, the outcome. The idea of a particle and a wave. This comes down to reality operating in the mind of the maker as energy. You are physical right now, and you are also energy. You will become more physically astute. You will contribute more physically. The more grounded you become, the more you want to be here, the more solid you build your energy field, the stronger the flowering will be. And then the more grounded you are, the greater will be your vibration of understanding yourself as energy. When you are not grounded, you cannot really understand yourself as energy. And you start bringing in beings from what we call the lower astral realms. These beings, again, some of them are lost souls, some of them are mischief makers, some of them claim to be aliens and all kinds of things. Lots of people who channel and open to this process, which is a very legitimate process. But if the people are not whole in themselves and ungrounded, they can pick up anything in the lower astral, and the lower astral is just waiting to say, well, I am God, I am the prophet, I am Allah, I am Virgin Mary, whoever, doesn't make any difference. They'll pass themselves off as anything. So if you are dealing with this, or you are knowing anyone dealing with this kind of thing, so you want to be strong and solid, so that when you are dialing up into the other realms, you are here and you are really calling on a telephone. You are not, let's say, letting them take you over. And do not be flattered by what beings from the other realms tell you. Even though you are powerful beings, we tell you that all the time. That is not a flattery, that is a fact in your terms, that we want to encourage you to recognize it in yourselves and to start using it. You know, in the early years of the nano, and again we'll recapitulate, the nano was from 1987 through 2012. It was 25 or so years of a methodical, a planned acceleration of energy. In the early years, when we came in and we started, let's say, melting the sacred cows, busting open ideas, making suggestions about things might not be what you think they are, there were always stalwart humans. You are a strong species, you understand this, and you are so fortified to come here to do this. You all come in with a plan. And you can augment and change that plan and rearrange it. But you do each have certain purposes to achieve, and we respect that. Nevertheless, you are born into, let's say, a paradigm, a belief system. When you are being carried in the womb, that program, the ideas are put into you, so that you pop out and you start to believe what's in front of you. You may question here and there, but in general, you are more concerned with that first chakra, the root chakra, the base chakra, that says, who am I and how can I survive in this environment? And of course, all people go through this. This is part of the process of spirit coming into the body and being a human. You have been human many times, and you are other forms of consciousness as well, physical and non-physical. These are some of the things that are important for you to remember. And the reason that we appeal to you to stretch your memories into greater corridors of time is so that you help uplift yourself and humanity, which is the mass agreement of the times. We are not designing your times, we are co-creating with you. We have our purpose in being involved with you, and one could say that that purpose goes back and forward in time. And many of you knew that you would connect with us, or you would connect with a voice, a form, an energy that would help you remind yourself of why you came here and what you are here to do. And if you are aware, and if you learn to direct your consciousness at least once an hour throughout the day, by setting an intention or communicating with the field of energy, putting out there a blueprint, a program, a shaping of an idea, because it is ideas that shape and build reality. The more you practice this, but quickly and quietly, the stronger you will become, and you will be fulfilling a plan that you have agreed to set into motion. It is important to understand that even though you live and function in a linear reality, you are multidimensionally connected. The cells in your body, the organs in your body, the chakras, they are more open to the flow of multidimensionality than, let's say, the conscious mind is. How does this translate into your day-to-day life? It translates as you having more insight, intuition, premonitions, hunches, certain states of knowing. These are all indicators that you are breaking out of linear time, and you will claim your right, and you will assist in restoring to normalcy the concept that humans create their reality with their mind, with their imagination. And since you have done so many outrageously creative things, imagine what you can do if you set your intentions based on consciousness and the flowering of that consciousness to empower all people. Do not think that the forces of shadow and darkness, that they can overcome you, that you are a puny little nothing, and that what can you do compared to these powerful giants and reptiles and global elites and whoever else, Anunnakis and all the ones that you imagine are so big out there. You have consciousness, you are a conscious being, and the timing is such that it is your duty to watch that grow into magnanimous proportions. The clues and the keys that our vehicle shared with you this morning, we advise you to apply them. That is to always be grounded in. Because once you are grounded, you cannot be fried. Do you understand? Why do you think the electrical outlets everywhere and all the electricity that you have is set to ground? Yes? If it's not, things fry out, they burn out. as what happens to humans. So, stay grounded. Have a nice, strong aura. The stronger your aura, the stronger your protection. Your job is to prove to yourself and to set a legacy for humankind of a new way of being, a simple way of being, a way that lifts off the fear, a way that creates a new blessing for a new era. And that is where you are at now. You are helping to build this new era, and we are helping to shape the ideas along with you. So, that gives you a general idea of what we want you to know and to start with, and we'll move into questions. There's lots of energy brewing here, and we'll do our very best to give you an answer. We may move on to another question, and we may answer your question further on and mix it in with other answers and other questions. So pay attention, have a good time. Make an intention that you utilize the energy that we are transmitting, and that it brings you vitality, health, it uplifts your energy field, and that you are able to create whatever it is that you want. So, without further ado, we turn it over to you. Who would like to ask the first question? State your name loud and clear.
Yes, this is Chet.
Chet, welcome, and thank you for bringing us once again to Sedona.
Our pleasure. This morning, your vehicle talked about the Anunnaki a little bit, and the possibility that in the last century or so they might be surreptitiously returning, physically even, possibly to Earth. And could you fill us in a little more, and do you have any non-physical, intellectual or emotional or other relationships with any of them, like the Enkyites or others that we might think of?
Oh, goodness, this is a wonderful start here. He really cracked the egg open. And as we suggested, that one of the purposes of the acceleration of energy, or the nanosecond era, well, there were many purposes. One of the primary ones was to have you understand that thoughts create reality, which in the larger context, the larger umbrella, was to prepare humankind for meetings of those in the cosmos. That was the purpose of the nano. To wake you up, to get you more in tune, to raise your frequency, because it's one thing to hear about ETs. You understand this? It's another thing to meet them. It's one thing to look at a lion in a picture book. It's a completely different thing to see it in a cage or out in the bush. That's the example. Remember that. So, you are now in the new era, and meeting your cosmic cousins, family, etc., is inevitable. The globalists have been hiding this for a long time. It is true. The Anunnaki, as you come to understand them, those who came from the heavens down to earth, or approximate translation, they have had long influence on your planet. And it is the work of Mr. Sitchin, and now the work of this author from South Africa, that are timely in opening up this understanding of your past, a past that has been hidden by global elitists, and a false past has been presented to you, starting from throughout time. Things have been hidden. Now, some of these Anunnakis, as you call them, Atlanteans, never left. They migrated to the center of the earth, or into the earth, let us say. Jules Verne knew something, as many of these people knew something, because the information was passed down through time. Now, there's definite, let's say, transference of technology to people on the planet. And what's happened in the 20th century is that people that belonged to elite clubs, secret societies, things of this nature, and there were many of them, they would be privy to some of the information that would indicate these visitors had returned. And these visitors would have shared their technologies, or shared pictures of what was coming. This sharing of information from visitors to members of secret societies really began to kick off the science fiction era. All right? Without naming names and who is who, some of the big names started molding and shaping the energy based on what they were shown by visiting ETs, Anunnakis, as you would say to them, and others. And do we have connection with these? Yes, all the ETs have connections. They all have connections. And the Anunnakis are not who you think they are. There's been a bit of a spin on some of the story, but that is all right. Things all come out in the wash in the end. So, technologies are given to you to step up your progress based on your industrial revolution. And they are a way to monitor and control the planet. And so we would say that the devices that have infiltrated your society, they are monitoring devices that the end result is utilized by visitors, not by humans. They are part of psychological experimentation. They are part of monitoring where you are and who you are by some beings who do operate with machines. Who else has a question?
Peace, it's Ruth.
Ruth, welcome.
Could you speak to the General Petraeus scandal and what the story, if there is a story behind that? And does that have anything to do with what's going on with the military right now, a changing of guard or power?
So the General Petraeus story also was an end of the nano story. All the things that happened at the end of the nano, remember, from your personal events to the events that made the news, they were sort of epic dramas being played out. Of course he was set up. You understand this? Understand that in the hierarchy of military, in the hierarchy of politics, they are infiltrated by hot babes, hot guys, whatever. And the way throughout time, we are talking way, way back to the Anunnakis, hundreds of thousands of years ago, it's sex. Sex is used as the seducer, it's used as the blackmailer, it's used as the compromiser. And of course, you are sexual beings and you want to have sex and you want to be loved. And so it's your downfall and it's your victory. And it's where and how you have been seduced and attacked and weakened throughout time. It's the game of the gods. Remember, all these Anunnakis were highly incestuous. Brother and sister would marry one another. Daughter would have sex with father or grandfather. Son would have sex with mother and grandmother. Because these beings were not aging. They were living into perpetuity, do you understand? They were selectively breeding. They were selective breeders. So all of this, so now you have the blue bloods, they are selective breeders. You look at the Queen in England, and she'll admit that she breeds dogs and horses, but they don't tell you they're breeding their own kind. Do you understand? Yet the modern monarchy, where do they come from? Germany. And who started the blood race, the breeding? The Germans, you understand? And the Germans are descendants of the Germanic giants. They were the ferocious, massive giants of long ago. And these giants would have been descendants of the Nephilim. The Nephilim are mentioned in the Bible. Another name for the Anunnakis. The Nephilim, according to the biblical story, would be called the fallen angels, or those who disobeyed God and came down and had sex with the people on earth. They make it sound like the Nephilim are all men. They're not. The women were involved as well. They don't take sides on these things, you understand? They cohabitated, or they started mixing the DNA. Lots of times they couldn't cohabitate. They were too big and the humans were too little. Are we expanding your picture of reality today? So, Petraeus was set up to be moved out, you understand? Remember, the whole point of getting into the Middle East during the Nano was to control the portals. And the gods, the ancient gods, were known to come not in big ships landing and like Air Force One and then the Cadillac or the limo drives out. No, these beings came through what is called stargates. You are familiar with that term, stargate? And if you go to visit certain places of antiquity around the planet, you will see that they have built a column, and then a lintel, and then a column, and it's standing in the middle of nothing, you understand? And it's a gate. Tiahuanaco in Bolivia is famous for its gate of such. And the story is these beings were able to, by frequency, come through the gate or the portal. And the globalists, certain of them, wanted to make sure that they were there and that they would be the ones who would be greeted and not lose control of this portal. All of that is sort of past now. Things have been achieved, and now the detritus must be picked up. What to watch for in a lot of these situations is someone is kicked out because they know too much, and then shortly thereafter they're retired, or suddenly they have early Alzheimer's. You watch for these signs of early Alzheimer's. This is how they dispose of people who know too much, but yet keep them alive as an icon. You with us?
Yes.
Good. You must understand that it's the shadow side of existence. It's not overpowering and overwhelming. It seems so because you can't pick it up yourselves. And so you have suspicions about things and the bigger picture of the story. And yet because, let's say, you have been conditioned and genetically arranged to be less than, to have, let's say, a dullness to you rather than a brilliance that knows all things. If you were so brilliant and knew all things, you cannot be controlled. You would say, you're Ponziing me, you're scheming me. But you are vulnerable because you are believers. And it is an attribute that is wonderful, that you are trusting, but it is also your downfall. So by asking these questions, some of you already tune in. I knew something was going on there. Good. Because if you know something's going on, you may not know the whole story, but if you have a premonition, a feeling, something more is going on, there's more to the story, then you would say, Great Spirit, a higher self, guides, help me, multiverse. I would like to know more about this story. And not to be trite, but we do remind you that you can Google things on the internet, but you can wonder on the inner net. And it is wondering. It is wondering that sets out a thought form and an idea. And I wonder about this. I want to know more. And then after a while it starts coming to you. This is how the process works. What else, Ruth?
This is Ayana.
Oh, did we finish with Ruth?
Yes, that's fine.
All right. Ayana,
Right.
welcome.
Thank you. How toxic are the chemtrails, and
How toxic are the chemtrails?
and what should we do to protect ourselves?
How toxic they are depends on how weak you are and how the strength of your immune system, basically. How dangerous is it to people? It's very subtle. You notice there are more and more sick people on the planet, and these sick people create jobs. And this is not a good sign. If you are a healer, if you are the medical profession, what you want to be aiming for is to be out of it. Not to quit it, but so there's no more sick people. That's your goal. Do you understand? But that is what, if it was really about health, that whole system, all of you, alternatives and trained, would all be aiming and working to keep people healthy, not fixing them when they are sick. You wouldn't be out of work. You would be just working differently. Why are they using these chemtrails? For a number of reasons. First of all, they block out the vitality that you need from the sun. And the sun is not just about vitamin D, it is also about the language of light, the communication that then is taken into the pineal gland. The attack of fluoride is also, the use of this toxic substance is also an attack on the pineal gland. Again, if all of this starts flourishing, people and the gods may not control you and they would lose the planet. And that's the plan. Their time is over. Do you understand? Their time is over. You are just watching the dying, desperate means of beings who have sort of... Manipulation does not outwin benevolence. Even though you have to deal with some of these darker forces, in the end, the multiverse supports the ultimate goodness. So, over the years, we've encouraged you to strengthen your immune system, physically by eating good foods, by, most important, getting excellent rest, quiet rest, with no electronics around you, with air coming in, not air conditioning. Do you understand? To return you to nature and to slow down. There are substances you can take to detoxify the heavy metals. There's a level of health inventiveness that has not reached the public yet. And you are going to see radical things happen on the alternative level to help you get smarter and heal, and on the weird level to become more cyborg. You will have to choose. And it's possible to, in the next few years, that the alternative people really figure out how to help you purify the body, how to revitalize the cells, and how to strengthen yourself against these toxicities so that they do not harm you. By the design of nature, you are highly adaptable. And we will say that you are in a time that innovation and adaptability are absolutely the name of the game. And the more you condition yourself to be strong, to be adaptable, to go with the flow of change, to use the forces of goodness and the cosmic energy to transform you, you will do it. And there is plenty of evidence that the toxicities in the world that you are in must be dealt with. Can they be dealt with? Absolutely. Absolutely. But there are factors and principalities that want to control the planet, and they want to depopulate it. And they want to make certain that it becomes again a genetic laboratory for them and a resource center. Who has a question now?
Evie?
Evie,
Yeah.
welcome.
Thank you. I want to know about what toxic things for the brain of children. Why are we having so many children now with autism and other cognitive and brain
All right.
function?
Every once in a while, there's so many children with cognitive brain problems, autism, and the full spectrum of this. It sort of is about the same issue at the other end. If you look at the aged people, and their problem is what? Alzheimer's. And what is Alzheimer's? It is a form of dementia, and a person loses their noodles, so to speak, and they have difficulty remembering and functioning. And the good Alzheimer people are happy sometimes. They have happy dementia. But basically, the spectrum is between the Alzheimer dementia people and the young children coming in with their issues. Is that if we step back and look at it, what it says is, it's really hard to get born on Earth into a healthy body, and it's really difficult to leave Earth with your brain intact. Something's going on here. You can't get in cleanly, and you can't get out cleanly anymore. You follow this? What would be called pregnant mothers in the most delicate, gentle stages of their being, motherhood. One of the most sacred states there is. Because without mothers carrying you, and without fathers, let's say, offering the seed, there's no getting in. And the globalists want, some of the Anunnakis want to change the entry process. That's what they've been working on. Because they want to breed the humanity out of you. And the global elites want to break down the family. So you have a generation, a few of them now coming in. And what they were born into is the wireless or the electronic games. You follow this? And not necessarily wireless, but batteries. And what was happening is it was all around you, and too much data was coming in. The brain, the eyes couldn't take it in. And they began to, let's say, disrupt the signals along the nervous system. And it disrupts the stage of development. And so many unwitting mothers subjected themselves not just to, lots of people want to say, oh, it's the shots, it's the inoculations. Well, that certainly adds to it, and some children appear to be quite vital and quite present, and then they get these highly toxic cocktails within a few months or weeks of their life, and then you're poisoning them. Do you understand? What does all this signal? What does it signal? That you are such powerful beings. You are so vital. The beings have to go to all these extensive, elaborate contrivances to make you sick and control you. And your children have taken this on as a soul. As a soul comes in and says, all right, I'll be one of these special needs children. Why? So that the rest of society will wake up to what's going on. So there's many facets and many purposes to it, but it must be understood that in today's world, a pregnant mother who's carrying cell phones, who's sitting in front of television or going to movies and watching violent movies, and having wireless signals all around, and smartphones, and every doodad, and the house is all electric, and this and this and this, all of this is bombarding the fetus. It cannot survive it. Do you understand? It's not a nourishing environment. And so you are going to see a lot of illness over the next number of years. You're going to see a big, huge wake-up of people are going to start realizing we can't do this to ourselves. Look at the people who live the most natural and the cultures who live the most natural. They are going to be the healthiest ones. Who else has a question, please?
This is Janet.
Janet, welcome.
We recently passed the nanosecond.
Yes, the nanosova.
Yes. And so now we're moving into another phase.
We call this the new era.
All right. I would appreciate your comments on the opportunity that the new era represents for our development of human consciousness, and specifically how we can evolve during the process of weather wars and wars here in the United States, things that we will specifically move through in the next couple, 3 years.
Yes.
And what this era represents, if you could.
So the new era is predicated on, in your version that you are in, a flowering of consciousness. And let's say the new era began right after the nano ended. So December 22nd, you are in the new era. So settle down and recognize it's going to take a while to shape itself. Nonetheless, these next number of years, from 2013 to 2026, 27, we call that the changeover time. And the next, from 2013 to 2017, is going to be very, very intense. These are the real deceleration, slowdown. There's going to be big stuff economically, and you are in the window of possible Earth changes during this particular time because of the Uranus-Pluto squares our vehicle was drawing out for you. You have this radical element, and you have this very solid Earth element, and they are fire and earth, and they're going to create a dynamic there. So you have potential for volcanic release, earth changes release. These are high in now through 2017. The changeover years will be, again, the first 5 very, very intense. Then from 2017 to 2027, about 2026, 10 years or so, 2018 to 2027, about 10 years there. So there's that phase. And that phase will be a re-examining of what consciousness is and who has consciousness, and really sort of in the United States rewriting a declaration of independence, and then working on what would be called a new constitution for humanity. This is your path, this is your destiny, this is your inevitable challenge, and this is the legacy of the new era. One of the issues that's going to change your lives immensely is a complete financial turnaround all around the globe. It will ripple here, ripple there. You've been in it for a while. And you wake up every day, the sun rises, your money's still there, but your money's worth less and less, and there's all kind of shenanigans behind the scenes. And the globalists, the controllers, they do want to have some sort of one world currency. And so they have their hands in destroying some of the systems. But there's also this energy of creativity and all these spiritual people on the planet who will just brush that off and make their own way. Do you understand? Just because negative forces have plans does not mean that they are successful in executing them. But they certainly can mess things up. And they certainly do want to destabilize you as a people. And so part of what will arise out of this is new systems, new creativity. And it, as we see it, will be more humanitarian, more local, rather than large banks, large structures. Large is difficult to maintain. And we have said also that the financial disarray and tumult that is about to blow up in the spring quarter and beyond, that in the larger picture, that's the least of your problems. Just to put it in perspective, friends. Oh, we are so happy when you laugh. Because you see, when you can chuckle over something that's not always chuckleable, but you still have the ability to laugh over it, it is part of our delivery too, you know. And it shows that you have a sturdiness that says, this will all work out. Now, when you have an attitude of it'll all work out, it always does, it always will, it'll work out better than I can imagine, better than best. Attitude is also another word for belief. This morning you talked about beliefs, how beliefs condition the space, and then the space, and then all of existence has to fit within your possibility of beliefs. So this is where your attitude is really, really important. And you may not know how you are going to have a zippity-doo-dah day, but to sing zippity-doo-dah every morning, or to hum it, or to make an intention, this is going to be a zippity day, then that sends out a positive attitude, an optimistic attitude. And when your prevailing energy has optimism, then you feed the field with optimism on a, let's say, consistent basis. And the field then conforms to your steadfastness. So the idea that you can and will adapt to financial alterations and to be able to chuckle about it is good. In the meantime, be practical. Understand that the same could happen to you as in Cyprus. Cyprus was, if we believe historically, one of the places the Templars hung out at, yes? And the Templars were big on managing money and hiding money, and they were a great threat to the papacy at one time. They were around 1100s, 1200s, 1300s, until they took Jacques de Molay, who was the head of the Templar organization there, the head honcho, and they roasted him. They roasted him at the stake. Very nasty types of energies that humans have done to other humans. But again, that people easily get possessed, and these demon entities, they love to see torture. So when you see people engaged throughout history or even now in torture, you had scandals a few years ago about CIA and such, of all this waterboarding, torturing. That's what gets let out. Those are the demons. That's how you know the demons are there. They feed off of that. The Inquisition, the demons, they feed off of it. War, they feed off of it. So there are those who want to create some sort of things to feed the demons, to help them control the earth. And so when you laugh, you strengthen your energy field, you strengthen your aura. And when you laugh, not with sort of arrogance, but when you laugh, ha-ha, we'll do it. It's a good laugh. The missing component in building the new era is that more and more people must be psychically aware, so that you can read the difference between deceit and deception and artifice and truth. So in the sorting out changeover period, things will fall apart. Pluto in Capricorn square Uranus in Aries, lots of things falling apart. Some by design, some by au naturel. And there will be this sort of what's going to work, what's going to happen. And as those things fall, people get more psychic. Every time there's a big fall of any system, boom, goes the psychic energy. And then you'll find some sort of stability. So someone that is good of heart will start a local, it will go local. Do you understand?
Yes.
And someone that truly is trustworthy will take it on. And then psychic people have to be, or aware people have to be a part of this. You have to be able to discern who is the poisonous snake in the grass. And understand this, that the poisonous snake in the grass is often the best dressed and the most charming person at the party. Understand, people, that there's a part of you, in every single one of you, that knows months in advance what's coming. Months in advance. You get premonitions, you get feelings. Sometimes these things don't happen because you shift the probabilities. These knowings, these premonitions are going to grow clearer and stronger. Expect that the Uranus-Pluto squares not only will shake the Earth, but as they may shake the Earth and shake Earth's systems and shake up Earth's reality, they will also shake loose what's been blocked in you so that you can open up to greater sensitivity, greater psychic awareness. And again, keep working throughout the day a few seconds at a time to condition the space to put out what you want. And the machines, the toxicities, the more people wake up, the more psychic they get. You will have to deal with these beings and diminish them. You will not destroy them. Higher consciousness understands that these are lost beings, and they are lost from the truth, but they push you to awaken to the truth because of their shadow that wants to overtake you. So without them, you'd be lazy. Do you understand this? In the end, you will thank them, because it is part of the dynamic force of the multiverse. And if you forget everything else, remember this: you are powerful beings in the multiverse. Its prime quality is goodness. So we'll go back to Janet now, since she had the last question. Did we give you what you want, Janet?
Yes, to a large degree.
And so do you have any other questions to follow through on what you are asking?
Only if you want to comment on the Pluto-Uranus squares and their specific outcomes in the United States.
So the Pluto-Uranus squares and their outcomes for the United States. So you've had two last year, June and September in 2012. You have two this year, one in May and one in November 1st. And then next year, the big one for the United States, what did we say, April of 2014. What will they do? Certainly, you're going to have big financial shakeup. This is going to affect the entire globe, and everyone is going to decelerate a bit more. Everyone's going to get more simpler, more practical. There's going to be less money. There's going to be more innovation. There's going to be less waste. There's going to be more creativity. There's going to be less stuff on the shelves, but more stuff to eat in greater proliferation of health, vitality, and deliciousness. You are moving back to a simpler time. The energy that propelled you in the nanosecond is unsustainable. It's completely unsustainable. It was necessary, the speed up, to create a short period of time where consciousness had to push itself to evolve very, very quickly, to become much more aware. That victory is set. Now you will ride those energies. You will fine-tune them. You will develop them. And as more and more people become spontaneously awakened, Uranus, Pluto will awaken people to new talents and abilities to build Pluto new structures. At first, these may seem to be just gifts that come through the ether. You will call them gifted and talented people. And then after a while will come the techniques, the protocols, that people will willingly learn. Who else has a question, please?
I'm Carla. Carla.
Carla, welcome, Carla. Speak loud and clear.
Thank you. Could you address the subject of heaven as we have been taught here on earth, what it is?
Heaven?
Heaven.
Heaven. What a good question.
The question is, what is real? Where do we go? Do we go to individual dimensions or energies or places?
When you're deceased, you're talking about.
Yes.
All right. Anyone with any common sense would recognize that each religion claiming to have superiority and to have the line, the only telephone line to God, is complete foolishness. Many of the visiting ETs set up religions for you across the lines of times, through telepathy, through all kinds of soul planning, as a way of managing the planet. One could say that the religions sort of serve as custodial structures. They give you rules and regulations. They sort of manage your energy, yet keep you limited. They keep you from getting to heaven. But they keep heaven as an enticement, as an idea. All the religions are sort of extensions of control mechanisms, custodial mechanisms, as we've said, to manage humanity. All this is falling apart. As the Catholic Church starts to tumble because of its problems, then expect the others to go as well. You with us?
Yes.
Good. So where do you go when you die? That's your question also. You go into, let's say, what we call islands of beliefs. You go into various dimensions or frequencies of reality. Our vehicle explained to you, if you are afraid of dying and you don't go towards, you're not met by beings that you love, then you can get really lost. Fear. If you die in fear, if you die in great suddenness, or if you die in great tragedy, it can totally traumatize the soul. So the soul is mixed up and doesn't know where to go. Now, beings that love you will always attempt to come and find you. That is a natural flow of the multiverse. And so you may say, well, who loves me? It may be beings that you don't know and have never known physically. But you are all loved by someone, by many someones. And so beings can come and attempt to, say, help beings who survive, the lost souls who were wandering New York City after 9/11. And they may want to get through to them, but the soul is so traumatized, it sees nothing, it hears nothing. It's lost. Do you understand? It's lost. Then there's people on the ground who will come often, people like you, humans, who will go to the sites of concentration camps, who will go to battlefields, who will go to the sites of car wrecks and plane wrecks and put crystals down. And with their understanding in their heart, they will pray. And they will make a holy space or a higher vibration space, so that the people will be drawn to the love of the higher vibration space. And then what happens technically, once they get into the higher vibrational love of space, because they're realizing someone cares, someone cares, then other beings can come and help lift them out. It's not easy to die. You have to know where you're going. You have to have a plan. And you want to aim for meeting up with those who know the ropes on the other side, who are clear and clean and who really love you. That's what you want to have meet you. And those are the beings that will meet you if you set it up that way. You do not lose who you are when you die. And we ask you, please, we assure you, we want to comfort you and to say to you, right now, make a decision in this moment that you have nothing to fear when you die. We would like you, in the privacy of your own agreement, to say, when it's my time to go, I will go fearlessly into the long good night, and I will go into a great new reality, knowing that loved ones wait me and a new adventure is at hand. Do not fear dying. It is important to have an exit plan. You may be years and years and years from your exit, years and years away. which, what the heck, a little bit of imagining can go a long way. And the globalists, like to the non-physicals, they want to control the death portal. They want you in fear. They want you confused when you die. They want to recycle souls. They want souls to get possessed and all this thing. They want to get you to play in certain religious games and things of this nature. Not right now, but at some point in the next few days, before the spring equinox, there's your homework assignment time. We would like you to make an agreement with reality about your death. And that can be as simple as how and where you are going to die. It can be an agreement to say, higher self and my oversoul, when it is my time to terminate my experience in reality of this physical body, I want to leave graciously, effortlessly. I want no pain, no muss, no fuss. I want the easiest of exit plans, or whatever you want. And then by putting this picture out there, you are already conditioning the space for how you're going to exit. Do you know how many people are afraid of dying? And so then they get sick, because being afraid of dying makes them sick. And they spend years sick, dreading the death portal as they go from hospital to nursing home to greater and greater degradation of vitality. It all comes from dread of leaving the physical body. There's the non-physical is a absolute separate reality. You will, because of your investment in this lifetime, bring your consciousness with you. That's what you want to do. Carry everything you've got. They say you can't take it with you. Well, maybe not the material stuff, but everything you learned goes with you. You follow? Yes, do you follow?
Yes.
Good. Between now and the spring equinox, make an agreement. And then it's like writing a will, and then put it away. Every once in a while, no. But when your time comes, it's going to be good. And forget about it. Another aspect of the changing era, it will be to help people die in a cleaner way. All right. Who has a question?
Laura,
Laura, welcome.
could you talk about the earth changes that are going to be happening in the next couple of years, and where places that would be good community places or safe places to go?
For 25 years, people have asked the same question. Almost exactly, word for word. The earth changes, and where are the safe places? You know, 25 years ago, we could say to you, oh, we'll migrate here, migrate there. Today, it's one world. Everything's connected. The sinkholes can happen anywhere. The Great Lakes could spill out. The coasts could, one coast could be safe, another coast could collapse. Hurricanes, tornadoes, and you are dealing with weather control. So when you are looking for a safe place, you bring it with you. You bless the land, you think practicality. Some people like to look at their astrocartographies, which would show where you have certain astrological lines, maybe auspicious places to live. Others are good at map dowsing. Some people go and they have agreement to be someplace. But pick something practical. And pick wherever you live, you're going to be part of a community that you're going to have to depend upon, that you're going to want to contribute to invest in. You're going to want to live in a place that has access to water and food, because it's going to be important to grow food. Yet innovations will come down so that the seeds will begin to cooperate, and they will, by consciousness, not by hybridization and genetically engineered, the seeds will start to respond to the love that comes from your heart chakra, and the seeds will produce what the community and the people will need to nourish themselves into higher consciousness. You are coming into a time of extraordinary cooperation. Be certain that you have some sort of water supply and that food can be grown somehow, whether the community builds greenhouses or whatever. Food is going to become a priority everywhere, because it's not going to move around so much in the future. It's not going to travel half the world to get to your plate. And many things are going to stop some of this traveling. There's going to be more gridlock. Things are going to be closer to where they are. Who has a question?
Patty,
Patty, welcome.
when will our species be allowed to develop and release into the marketplace free energy devices that can relieve some of the suffering and the problems in third world countries and in ours in terms of accessing water, transportation and other things?
All right. What, you Patty?
Yes.
All right. So, were you here yesterday?
No, ma'am.
All right. Well, we're not necessarily man, but that's it. We're having fun with you. So what we were saying is that yesterday our vehicle was drawing out some astrological aspects, and you are 2 years into a period of super high innovation and creativity. You have 5 more years to go. And what you will see during these next 5 years is some radical, bizarre, creepy, weird things. But you will also see the rise of what we would call the garage mechanics, the backyard tinkerers. They've been waiting for this. So there's a lot of regular people who perhaps they understand business, they understand electronics, whatever. They are coming up with the ideas. They are being given the ideas. The good forces are delivering ideas to you so that you wake up and you say, you know, I saw the whole blueprint. Here it is. That's obviously sent to you. So you are seeing this. The problem is, you said, when will they allow us, when will be allowed? The money invested in fossil fuels and natural gases and coal and these sorts of ways to produce energy, even solar and wind, they do not want to lose this grip. Sort of solar and wind is an acquiescence. It is not free energy. Do you follow this? Solar panels are very expensive. You have batteries. The wind, as brilliant as the idea sounds, you know how many birds it is killing. The wind vessels are killing more birds than the cats kill, and the cats kill a lot of birds every year. You lose the birds, and you lose your world. You understand? That expression, the bees and the birds, is not just some made-up double B's. It's important. The birds awaken nature. The bird song actually holds nature in stability. Birds all over the world are integral to the program of nature, just like the whales are integral to the program of nature in the element of water. You follow this? So, how will this occur? You are not going to see for a while something that's announced that all people can have. Although there are innovations that are being developed so simple to help people in third worlds to be able to have cleaner water, to keep their food cool, primitive but very simple ways. And so what we want you to understand is that some of the discoveries and implementations that will be brought to you are not going to be super high tech. Those will be for the machine riders in the cities. The more rural areas will adapt through simplicity, through very simple ways of dealing with reality. So it's coming. It's coming. It's not here yet. We would speculate to say when the new era really begins, it has its new foothold in 2028. More than likely, that's when things of this nature will really start to come forward. The 15 years from now until that point are the changeover years, or the time when you must figure out who's a crook and who's not. You must get rid of the systems that don't work for you. And so it's a time of cleaning up, getting rid of, and figuring out what must be innovated. And some of the innovations will be more temporary. And then it will be a whole new constitution of understanding world reality. And in these 15 years, we see that this is when you will meet the ETs, or that they will start to become more prevalent. And whether it is an announcement from governmental officials, or whether it is so many people having experiences that they cannot be denied. So, there will be things that will come about, Patty, and perhaps you'll be fortunate enough to know one of those backyard inventors, and perhaps they will be able to wire your house up first. How's that? Put it out there. Put it out there. Dare to create the new era, and with ideas. Ideas shape reality. We are here to help you shape the new era. It's part of our duty. Who has a question?
Please, this is William.
William, welcome.
In this time period, what do you see with the world's population? Do you see a mass depopulation?
Yes, you are in depopulation. You have been now for a few years. Actually, it was in 2011, we believe, that you, right at Halloween in 2011 or some such, the bean counters suggested that you reach 7 billion people. However, you are in depopulation. First of all, the environmental stresses and toxins have made it very, very difficult for people in what you would call a faster pace of reality, a faster society. They cannot get pregnant. So what used to be something that was completely for free, people are now paying hundreds of thousands of dollars to get pregnant and have a baby. That in itself says you've gone too far. And there's all these businesses that open up, you can't even count them, that will help you do this, that will take your hundreds of thousands of dollars, that will do all these tests on your genetical, your genital organs, your scorpionic organs, and play with them and poke and prod to help you do something that has always been for free. Your cultural studiers recognize that as society becomes more sophisticated, it is more difficult to get pregnant. And then there's all the young people in the Western world, here in the USA, who are dealing with student loan debt. They have taken on debts that many people took on to build a house or to build a family for a lifetime. These kids are getting out of school and they owe, some of them, a minimum of $25,000 up to a few $100,000. And guess what? They're studying potholder making and they get out, they can't get a job. Well, what the heck is wrong with the system? You follow this? Yeah. Because the colleges started wanting to, well, they're coming in, they want to pay, let's just offer them courses in anything. So there's a big rip-off in the educational system. No matter where you look, it's not working. Yet look behind what's not working and you will see under the detritus, there are new shoots coming up and people are saying, to heck with that, we're going to make something that's going to work. You understand that? Yeah. That's what you are in. That's what you are involved in. Questions? Oh, back to William there.
I know that there's been a depopulation, but my question was, will there be an incident or something that will cause more of a rapid decline? Like, I know the ruling elites plan their seminars, and one of them a few years ago, Oprah Winfrey and Bill Gates, was to, how do we depopulate half the world's population in a short, I'm talking like a short burst of time.
Yes. All right. So, let's say this. It was in the 1960s that people of this nature, not necessarily Bill Gates and whoever, but people who study these things, globalists, recognized that as the population was growing, and it was growing in the 60s, that as it kept growing, and as food production was watched, it would cross, and there would come a point where there would not be enough food to match the growing populations. You have reached this. You reached this a few years ago. And the global elites are leveraging the price of wheat, the price of, again, wheat and rice and these things were brought by the gods here to help develop society so that they could feed the beings that they were cultivating in the living library. Now this food is genetically altered, some of it is not good for you. So many people have developed wheat allergies, they cannot eat the food of the gods anymore. Very fascinating. And so is there potentiality? Yes, they've planned this for a long time. Their plan was that they had to get rid of, some say 2/3, some say 4/5. They want it down to maxi billion on the planet. That means 6 have to go. What we've been saying for a while is that once the nano's over, lots of people are going to leave. The nano, in order for it to be successful, it needed a lot of people on the planet. And the people came, and people procreated, and they came, and they came, and they came. It's over now. It's going to be much more difficult to survive on Earth. Just on a practical level, social programs are going to disappear. They'll winnow here and there, but they'll disappear. And so people who do not have their wits about them in terms of producing legitimate types of creativity and work are going to find it hard to live. So they won't live as long. So you are in a die-off period now. Lots of people are very sick. Lots of people are dying and in the process of dying. This is what the healthcare system is dealing with. And then you have the question, will the globalists plan some sort of rapid depopulation? They've attempted it with various genetic strains of diseases. They would love to create some sort of wipeout. They and the gods do not want to do planetary destruction. It's too much work to put it back together. Do you follow? You follow this?
Yes.
And if too much planetary destruction took place, then you'd have to vacate for a while. So they don't want that. They really don't want it. That's why many nuclear plants have been stopped. And there are good ETs who have, let's say, changed the alarm clock on many of these, or shifted the reality on many potential atomic detonations. You've skirted a lot of them. So they have plans, yes. Will they pull them off? We'll see. Are people leaving? Yes. By 2028, we imagine that even if the global elite do not do big things to depopulate the planet and really wipe it, you're going to lose, even in the next 15 years, a few billion people less, even naturally. You follow? Because they can't reproduce anymore. Young people that graduate from college, they're not thinking about family. They haven't even figured out yet. Now that they're out of school, they're finally recognizing, oh, I owe $30,000. Wow, how do I pay that back at $500 or $300 at a pop? And how long will that take me? The rest of my life? I don't want to have kids. How can I ever have kids have a house? So already it's occurring. Plus. You're all very psychic, whether you know it or not. All people around the globe. And many people are sensing that it's going to be much more difficult in the future to have a family and raise a family, unless you are part of a strong community that vibrates in that capacity, say like Amish, Mennonite, something of this nature. Who has a question, please?
Sandy.
Who is it, Sandy?
Yes, Sandy.
Well, all right, go for it.
Why is it that the government and the shadow government have been for many years building underground cities and stocking them with many military weapons, and also creating or building compounds on the moon and Mars? Have you any knowledge of this?
Yes. The underground bases have been, underground cities actually, they're bolt holes, and they anticipate some big problems. Now, understand that it was the Soviets in the 20th century who poured a lot of focus, a lot of money, a lot of energy on the psi principle. And they were the first in modern times here to, as a large country, to focus on the telekinetic, the telepathic skills that were innate within people. And this was part of the Cold War. And they began to train remote viewers, those who could see beyond the present time into a line of the future. And they learned after a while that there's not one future, there's many futures. And they learned about probabilities. At first they made mistakes viewing a future thinking this is inevitable. And they viewed enough futures from their position of fear, of wanting to control the planet, that they have viewed these futures that looks like there's going to be major destruction on the surface that comes from a variety of potentialities. Could be radiation, could be fire or volcanic problems that would wipe out, let's say, growing season for a long time, or could be big problems from radiation from space and meteors, which meteors, let's say, are not necessarily natural rocks falling. They are often used as weapons by certain extraterrestrials. So they have built these underground cities as places where select groups of people would be taken in times of emergency. And they're all over the world. They are in the US, they built them, people have been complaining in Scandinavia, been building them in Russia, they have them in Australia. Certainly South America has been honeycombed, and there's ancient cities in South America that exist underground, just as are there ancient cities in Turkey and part of the Middle East. And some of these underground cities were to hide from space wars, to hide from reptiles, to hide from radiation, all kinds of things. And so that's the scoop on the undergrounds. They've been building them for a long time, and sometimes people have heard the buzz, the digging, the vibrations from under the ground. Now, as far as the moon goes, there's been battles on the moon. And the story is that you've abandoned the moon. Well, on some level, many people have been chased off of the moon. There's been expeditions that have arrived, and they have found already complete structures, very, very, very large structures. The secret remote viewing projects that were going on between Stanford University and various other places, they were deeply interested in having their remote viewers look at the moon and be able to scan what was going on inside the Earth. This was prior to the ability of the development of telemetry to see into the Earth. And the remote viewers saw lots of things. Some of them saw giants on the moon. Some of them saw strange creatures. Some of them saw human slaves on the moon. Some of them saw structures a mile high on the moon. Caverns, buildings, crystalline domes, some of which were intact, some of which were destroyed. It's pretty obvious that if you were going to colonize Earth from space, that you'd want the moon as your base. Do you understand? And perhaps the moon was heaven. Do you understand? As you spoke yesterday or today about those who wanted to get into heaven, where the gods lived, where they dwelled. And Mars also was a laboratory. It certainly was an Anunnaki laboratory far before the time in which you are looking at 500,000 years ago. Mars was used, it had a high level of civilization, and one could say they really mucked up. It was too much war, too much violence. Planet destroyed, creating the asteroid belt. That destruction wiped out Mars, took the atmosphere away. There are buildings still there, but let's say Mars had its problems from the blowout of the planet that existed between Mars and Jupiter, that is now the asteroid belt. Who else has a question?
Gary?
Gary, yes.
Is there any other guidance that you might have for the new era time frame that hasn't been talked about this weekend?
To trust yourself can be risky. because you're not always going to make the right decisions. And yet, if you don't trust yourself, it's not a safe place to be. And so to put the trust in being guided to make the right decisions in the right place at the right time, and to offer thanks, and to ask the higher self, the oversoul, and all the guides and beings that work with you to be with you and to help you make the best decisions. That will help you build a very healthy and strong version of the new era. Believe in yourselves, and remember, thoughts create, and so create the very best. It's been our great pleasure. Good evening.